Hey everybody, welcome back. David Eon and the lovely Miss Lady Pop Hunter here with another adult collector discussion. And her jacket. All the patches, I love that.
Yeah.
She's working on it slowly. Yeah, she's filling it up.
Slowly. Oh, this one need to be resewn. I'm filling it up.
Yeah, excellent. And it is nostalgic, and that's kind of what we're talking about here. We talk about nostalgia a lot, and we have our fading nostalgia discussions also. But one of the questions that comes to mind is all of that thought about nostalgia and about pop culture, and about the pop culture that we experienced, not current pop culture, but the pop culture that we've experienced historically. Is that depressing? Is longing for that nostalgia, longing for how things were, and reaching back and trying to grab pieces of it here and there, is that depressing? Is that a form of depression? And if so, is it manageable? You know, it's an interesting topic of discussion, because you see, and we've seen some people that are really obsessed with the time periods that they grew up in, more so than just trying to reach back, because we're all looking back for a simpler time. Because, you know, we spent, and I've said this before, most of us spent our entire childhood wishing that we were older, saying, yeah, I can't wait till I grow up. No one will tell me what to do. I can go wherever I want. I can buy whatever I want. No. You grew up, and now you want to be a kid again because you realize that that's not how it works. More people than ever are telling you what to do. Everybody's taking your money. You can't go anywhere. It's not like how you thought it was going to be. And then you're like, damn, I wish I was a kid again. And that's where you get the expression, youth is wasted on the young. As they used to say, the old adage, youth is wasted on the young because they don't appreciate it while they got it. Most of them don't. And many of us didn't either.
Yeah, I don't think I ever wanted to be an adult. You know, so nobody would tell me what to do. That didn't happen. I just wanted to go someplace else because I lived in a small town where nothing was. And I wanted to be around more things, more activities, more things like that. But I don't think I ever longed to be an adult so I can get away from here, you know, and that kind of stuff. I
kind of needed to, because of my situation growing up. I needed to hurry up and grow up so I could escape. I needed to work. I needed to get away. Because it was not a healthy environment.
But is it depressing? Because you see people, okay, like, you think, oh man, when we were kids, we had these shows. We had, we could do this, we could do that. And then you think about it, and it's okay if you think about it, and maybe you'll talk to a few people, but then you move on. But I knew a guy in the military. All he talked about was his childhood. We did this, we did that, and I mean, it was nonstop, and nobody knew him, so, you know, you couldn't chime in. You know, at least if you talk to somebody you know, you could kind of say, oh yeah, I remember that, but he talked about specific things, specific people, specific places, and stuff like that, and you're sitting there like, dude, can we move on? And then you have people like, oh man, I want an 80s house, I want a 70s house, I want to sell the house that I have and go back to shag carpeting and wood paneling and
big floor model TV. And there are people that do that. We've seen photographs, and it's because something is really missing. Some people, they do it for the charm of it, of remembering their the links to their childhood, of some of those happy moments or those content moments. I think that's why we do it, because it's charming, you know, for lack of a better description. But I think some people do it because there's such a deep longing for that period, because they're unhappy now. And they're trying to reach back and grab a piece of it, but you can't, because too much has changed.
Too much has changed, and then you realize once you become an adult, what was going on then, and then you think, oh yeah, this happened, that happened, and then you talk to somebody that was there, and it's like, it didn't happen that way. Yeah, that happened, but it wasn't the way you remember it. And it makes me think of that episode of The Twilight Zone.
Yes.
With a guy, he was an adult, and
he was a toy maker.
Yeah.
He worked in a toy factory, and he had all he did was talk about growing up on such and such street, whatever, and he falls through this like time warp and ends up on that street, and he's all excited until he sees himself, and how, because he was like, oh yeah, I used to do this and that, but the neighborhood kids hated his guts and they beat him up real bad, and all this terrible stuff was happening, and the street was dirty, and he was like, but you know, because sometimes we fool ourselves into remembering things a little differently than how it actually was. Was it really that great? You know, or you just really want to believe that it was because you're still not happy right now.
Yeah. So maybe you need to try and figure out what's going on that causes you to be so unhappy with your life. Because there's nothing wrong with watching old TV shows, collecting things from your youth, toys that you play with, comic books that you read, things like that. I think that's fine. But it's when you get this mindset of, oh God, if I could just go back, things would be different. I would be so much happier. Because I've talked to people that I grew up with, and they tell you a story, and you're sitting there like, that didn't really happen that way. Or you left out a huge part of that story that you were a part of. You know, and you're thinking, okay, you know, I usually don't say nothing. I let people remember things the way they want to remember them. Because, you know.
No sense crushing them.
Yeah, you know, especially if they had a happy memory. They ain't hurt nobody, I guess. I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not. But, you know, some people got a mindset of how things were. And you're like, it wasn't quite that way.
And then change isn't always good either. You know, as things change, they tell you, they sell it to you as being good, but it really isn't. And you, I say sometimes, this is why I now understand why it is that when I was young, old people were always grumpy, because they had stuff and they had access and they did things that even in my day, growing up in the 70s and 80s, it just wasn't a thing anymore. And it might have been a really good thing, but you would never know. If you don't know what you're missing, you can't miss it. That's why they don't teach civics anymore. Just on a side note, they replace civics with sociology or social studies for a reason. If you don't know what you're missing, you can't miss it. So growing up also in the 70s and 80s and remembering the things that we did, the freedoms that we had, whatever, and looking at kids today, I'm like, wow, they just don't get it. And wanting to go back to that, but we've seen people that are so obsessive with that. We've seen a few YouTube channels, and without calling anybody out, there was the one guy, he goes to flea markets and stuff looking for vintage products, old like toothpaste and cologne and stuff from the 80s, and uses this stuff because he wants to be in the 80s so bad that he seeks out items from that time period and wants to use them. He you see what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like, wow, that's a stretch. I'm not buying a 40-year-old cologne and toothpaste and
actually using
and deodorant and whatever, and actually breaking the seal on it and using it. And it's like, dude, I think that's taking it a bit too far.
I mean, I don't mind in the house having an 80s or nostalgic room, but I'm not living in no 80s house with a floor model TV, and shag carpet.
Because I've always thought that was kind of impressive. There's the guy who has a room, or he turned his garage. There was one person, he turned his, he had like a double garage, and he partitioned it. Because I saw him in an old trade magazine back in the 90s, and I was like, wow, that's incredible. And made it into like a vintage McDonald's restaurant, something like that. And it's just as a hobby, he wanted to do that. It doesn't take over the whole house. He's got it contained. But it's just like, wow, that is incredible. You know, that's impressive. But when you get to the point where your whole home looks like that, you know, you got shag carpet on the stairs, and you got a waterbed, and you got
wood paneling.
Wood paneling.
I mean, if that's your thing, and you honestly, truly like it. Now, I'm not going to live like that. We're going to have some hardwood floor. We're going to have some granite countertops. You know, we're not getting in no waterbed. I slept in waterbeds before. Your whole body aches. You know, but if you got a room, or you say, okay, you can turn the whole basement into an 80s house. You can do that. Okay. But once you walk up these stairs, all of that's going away because we coming back to 2022. You're not pulling down my sheetrock and putting up wood paneling. You know,
paneling, come on.
Yeah, we had wood paneling growing up.
Yeah, did you? I didn't know. We were in an apartment, so
yeah. In our house, the whole house was every wall was wood paneling. And when we moved to Illinois, it had wood paneling.
There was some still,
and we took it down.
We pulled it down.
And we took up that carpet and put in wood flooring.
And honestly, if you did that, if you turned your whole house into the 70s, and honestly, really a late 60s, early 70s mod home would probably look pretty freaking impressive, because that was some crazy stuff in that time period. But
if it's done right,
it can be really amazing.
If you do it yourself and you buy some shag carpeting from Goodwill and you just kind of vacuum it and put down some carpet fresh, and that's not going to work.
But carpet fresh.
You got to have Drew and Jonathan come and do it for you.
Oh my God. But if that really makes you happy, I can't tell you anything, honestly. But are you? Are you really truly happy is the question.
Yeah.
Or are you fooling yourself because you're longing for something because something's not right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really kind of the question. Because again, you had a completely like mod 60s Barbie looking apartment. It looks like it's something out of a UFO or UFO from the British television series. It's pronounced UFO. I can't. I'm compelled to point that out, being a Jerry Anderson fan. You got it looking like that, and it's spot on, like perfect, like Austin Powers looking. I can't tell you anything because that's fantastic. And if you're really happy with it,
yeah,
you know. But I wonder sometimes if in talking to certain people, are they really doing it for the nostalgia, or is it connected with some sort of depression?
Yeah.
Yeah, and because it happens.
Yeah.
And depression is normal. I don't, care what people tell you. It is normal. Everybody has those moments.
Yeah, but you get past it. You got to figure it out.
You got to learn to figure it out and get past it.
And you got to dig in and try to figure out, okay, what's causing me to be depressed? And then you got to address it. And
no medicine. I'm a fan of the Morita Therapy. I know we're getting a little sidetracked here because remember, I've had training in this stuff. The Morita Therapy doesn't believe in medication, doesn't believe even in counseling or that kind of treatment. They're going to sit there and pour my guts out for 5 years to somebody getting paid to care and accomplish nothing. Here's another prescription.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It really kind of doesn't work for most people. Morita Therapy looks at what's really wrong. Is it because odds are if you're depressed, something needs to change. Maybe it's your job, maybe it's your friends, maybe it's your diet, maybe it's your environment, maybe it's your hobby. That's what Morita Therapy looks at. And it wants to unplug you. Stop looking at the news.
Yeah.
Stop doing this and that. Maybe you need to change your taste in music. It looks at your influences. So maybe if you are depressed, getting overboard with the nostalgia is helping to balance you.
Yeah.
But what is leading to that depression in the first place is the key question.
Yeah, because it could get worse and worse and worse, and then it could cause you to go deeper someplace else. So,
yeah.
But that's off topic, and we're not trying to give any medical advice at all.
Then you're buying 50-year-old bottles of Head and Shoulders. and opening them up and using them. And you're buying that colored toilet paper
Ugh.
and actually using it.
No.
I know I'm awful.
Yeah.
You remember that colored toilet paper?
I remember
I think
because
Northern used to make it, right?
I don't know, but my grandmother had a house.
Make your toilet paper
And
match.
The bathroom, she had like the guest bath, the half bathroom where everybody uses, and it was red and white. The walls was white, but the carpet, the light was red. The towels and everything, and the toilet paper was a pink.
Yeah, back when you used to put all the shag carpeting on the toilet.
And on the floor and all over the place. And that bathroom was like...
Oh my God.
And she had a water bed.
I don't know why you would want stuff that would absorb moisture in your bathroom, but what do I know?
Yeah, no.
Waterbed, huh?
Mm-hmm. She had a water bed, and my brother had a water bed. And man, you sleep on a water bed, your whole body aches. Because it's, moving, and then you got to put so much in there, water to balance it out, how much movement you want by how much water you put in there.
Better hope the heat works, too.
Why?
Water.
What are you talking
If
about?
the heat doesn't work, the waterbed will freeze.
No, it won't.
If it's winter and there's no heat.
All that water ain't gonna freeze.
Well, is it salt water?
No, but still
All right,
ain't
then.
gonna freeze.
You'll freeze. You'll jump on that bed.
It ain't that
and
cold.
You'll hear that crack. Oh! Anyway, yeah, again, we're not trying to give you medical advice.
No, not at all.
Just stating our opinions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but after working in the mental health, I'll never use psych meds.
Yeah, me either.
But anyway, on to what we were talking about. Is longing for nostalgia or the things past, what once was, is that depression? Could that lead to depression? Are you compensating with nostalgia to get past something else?
Yeah.
So you burying yourself into your hobbies. You just drowning yourself to escape from something else that's going on.
Yeah. It's just an interesting topic of discussion, and of course it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
For some people it's just a love of the hobby, and
Yeah.
for some people it may be something a little deeper than that, and that's what we were throwing out here today. And just share the discussion, of course, because we're asking you. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below.
Yeah.
If you get where we're coming from, please do give the video a thumbs up. Easiest way to show your appreciation, and it means something to us. They tell you it's great for the algorithm. I don't believe that. I don't think so, but we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're new. All that good stuff. Check out some of the other videos. We do a lot on this channel tied in with nostalgia and pop culture. So if that's it, then what more can we say but thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.